Welcome to Last Week in Warframe, a series where I keep you updated on the past week of Warframe by compiling all news, announcements, and general posts by the developers from the forums, Reddit, Twitter, and even their live streams. Timestamps to each topic as well as their sources are in the description, so without further ado, let's go over these announcements and news from the 27th of January to the 2nd of February. We begin with Devstream 137. The previously covered Warframe of Odalisk that we saw the concept art and ability rundown in Devstream 136 now has the new name of Protea. It will be the next Warframe released. Rebecca showed Protea off in-game as shown on screen, and they noted that the device on her back that looks like a Syndana is actually a part of her ability set, but it will be lowered down to the utility belt in order to allow players to use a variety of Syndanas. Her abilities will also open her skin's utility belt up when used. We did get a look at one of her abilities, that being the fourth ability, and that is shown in-game on screen. They also showed the concept art of Gara Deluxe, and there is a Syndana and sword skin in this Deluxe bundle. Pet changes that have been mentioned over the past year and a half were expanded upon by Sheldon with the following. So they will be removing the stasis system where the pet has to wake up, and when these changes go live, we will be able to just cycle in and out of our pets. They want to add a command system within the gear menu, and that will give us the option to direct the pet to guard, follow, and return. Set mods are planned for mower companions. They're planning to add a randomized heads and tails system to Kubrow's, and they're also planning to buff maggots on the helmet charger. They're looking to remove the ability for the Howl Precept to send units away from the fight, and a rework is planned for the Sunika Kubrow. Lastly, they're looking at adding a generic heritage system where Kubrow's and Kavats through breeding would gain traits such as a Kubrow hating Grineer, and Kavats gaining resistance to certain damage, and it won't be RNG as apparently the information will be shown to us. Sheldon did share that they're hoping for a March release. The next Nightwave series is titled Glassmaker, has the logo on screen, and DE will announce when the current intermission period is ending well before it ends, like they have with the previous series. Steve also shared the following about Nightwave Series 3.
So our goals with the next Nightwave are to make it, and again, this is a gentle push into having a little bit more sort of an interactive component and involvement. Nightwave by its is similar, I think, to battle pass systems where there's achievements and you're doing game activities to kind of unlock the tiers, but there is going to be a bit of a, I guess maybe a murder mystery to it, theme to it, and figuring out who the glassmaker is and that sort of thing.
The ability to apply skins to our Kitguns will be coming soon. A new Simulacrum will also be coming soon as a separate room that won't replace the current one. This new room will have flat floors with no holes. Jeff also mentioned that he would like to add more rooms like this in the future. They also showed the firing and sounds of the radiation beam shooting weapon, and a clip of that will play.
Basically, it's a rifle.
Yep.
And then it also has the alt fire mode that does the charge shot, so...
Yeah.
Titania will also be getting some tweaks. If the player wants the Spellbind status immunity for themselves, it will be granted to the player if the ability is held down. Her second ability will get a small gear wheel, similar to Vauban and Ivara, that will allow players to select the buffs they'd like to apply. Lantern will now be static instead of being allowed to move around after being hit and whatnot, and it will just be static no matter what you do. Razorwing's activation also has a new effect to it, and some more will be coming in the next mainline update that does not have a release as of yet. The Corpus ship remaster was shown, and the old Corpus ships will be retired for the new ships. I'll show a few clips now of the remastered map with dev comments, just so you see what it entails.
Quick, I guess.
Yep.
I mean, this is the next part. I know people are hoping for Empyrean to be connected and fleshed out,
Yes.
and this is the next part, which is the next faction.
So.
There's some lore for that too, though. Like it's kind of a bit of world building on the Corpus in this set as well.
All right.
Tells a bit of the history.
Oh.
You've got to find.
Yeah, there's going to be the founding story of the Corpus, where you'll learn about the founder. There's going to be a little bit of a greed mechanic where players will be able to pick if they are altruistic or if they are greedy, which I think is well themed. So there's going to be some game mechanics around that, as well as the spaceflight components to the Corpus, which are their capital ships and their fighters.
When Corpus Railjack ships, it's going to be, their ships are going to be using the new art set
That's right.
in addition to the base missions themselves.
Precisely.
Gotcha.
We're doing an enemy refresh with this as well, and you're not really seeing that right here with this AI spec.
This looks like they started mixing some of the Venus.
Yep. Some of the mix-ins are now starting to happen.
Yep.
but-
This is just for the stream to get some enemies in it, so we can.
The next stage of Empyrean, Railjack, and the New War will be sentient boarding parties, as Rebecca showed 3 screenshots of said boarding parties attacking your ship. Steve and Jeff also said there will be new lore and squad link, although Rebecca did react in.
That's going to also be introducing some of the features that we weren't able to ship with Empyrean with Squad Link.
Well,
and am I getting ahead of
you're
myself?
getting ahead of yourself here, I think. We
Okay.
got to save these types of things.
Well,
See.
you know, there's
Spoke too soon, Sinclair.
we're responding to chat. So
Spoke too soon.
there is newer stuff coming, and part of that is the escalation of the sentient threat in the solar system.
The team once again touched on Kuva Liches, but this conversation was before the release of update 27.1, thus I will leave a link to the conversation in the description of the video. Deferred rendering will be coming in the next mainline update, and they showed it off on stream, both in the Plains of Eidolon and then through a number of screenshots. Deferred rendering will be an option in the launcher settings when it becomes available. The team said the reason Railjack boarding enemies have more health is due to there being less of them in the encounter, and then Scott shared the following about their efforts to change armor and shields in Warframe.
But when we're looking at the S-curves and stuff, will that go deeper into health, or is it just armor?
As I go deeper down the rabbit hole of the damage stuff and the armor, and I've been looking at the curves for damage, health, shields, and armor. Pablo had a great idea about kind of going across each of the factions and making sure that they all kind of get a buff or a change, help with the balance so that shields become, Corpus are mainly about having shields, right? But shields are very easily bypassed and almost irrelevant. They don't regen very quickly. There's a bunch of stuff with that. So kind of making sure each faction has a thing that you do want to mod towards. So armor is on an S curve now. So at about level 75, it starts to fall off. Still goes up, but not on the same aggressive curve. Shields is currently, in my test case, following the same S-curve.
Oh, okay.
But it's boosted up, so the part that they do grow faster. I've added shield regen to them with a 0 delay.
But how long was their shield before to regen?
It was like 3 and 4 seconds, so it was
Oh, they were dead before they even thought
They were
about
dead
it.
before it even mattered.
Yeah.
Looking at ways to make sure that low fire rate weapons still are usable in those situations. Adding to the Corpus, since they have regenerating shields, having the idea of a shield break where you can, once their shields are actually gone, they no longer regenerate.
Right.
Now, in the last day or so, I've been looking at the damage types that bypass shields.
Oh, okay.
And kind of what to do with that, because there's not a lot that totally bypasses armor. So making sure the shields are still relevant. For infested, we were thinking about
Yeah, what would you even do for them? Just
a damage boost. So making them more deadly when they actually do close that distance. Most of them are melee, so they're trying really, really hard to get in your face. Most of the time they don't make it there. So
When
if
they
don't
do-
make there in numbers, it's almost inconsequential. So making sure that even when they get there with a few guys, that the damage is
People in
boosted.
general.
So kind of a broad look at those things. I mentioned last stream that we were looking at the damage curve and got lots of fun Twitter about that.
Oh, of course.
These are things we're experimenting with. We're not 100% what we're going to actually ship, but these are the things that I've been looking at the last couple weeks.
Primary kit guns are coming soon to Fortuna, and players will only need to have a primary handle to build them. Lastly, for Devstream 137, they showed off a new Moa emote. The second announcement for the Wii console players, you guys finally have access to the Phase Step ephemera. You can now acquire it through Barricatier at any of his fortnightly visits for 15 ducats and 1,000 credits. Lastly, to end this weekly recap video, on Reddit, Rebecca stated they have no plans to add a toggle that allows players to choose whether they want to hold to heavy attack or press your alt fire key to heavy attack. Anyway, that does conclude this episode of Last Week in Warframe. If you found the video informative, make sure to leave a like. If you think I can improve upon the series in any way, shape or form, make sure to leave it in the comment section down below. And if you want the channel glyph, they are up on your screen. There are 5 codes per platform. If the code did not work, that means someone else redeemed that code and you'll have to wait for another video to to get the code and try again. If you missed out on last week's episode, the annotation is on your screen. It'll take you right to it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.